from Earthlings, and welcome to one of my first videos about meditation, love, healing, and relationships. I hope that through videos like this I can manage to help inspire, help heal, and help improve the lives of anyone who wants to watch. If you like content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe and to share to like-minded individuals such as your friends or family. So, without further ado, my first video with Alvaro. Hi, welcome to Earthlings. I'm Van and this is Alvaro, and we're going to be talking to you today about meditation and healing. Alvaro, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay.
Or your Buddhist life.
Yeah. I come from Uruguay, and I am Buddhist since 2009.
Mm-hmm.
I will not be so deep, but I start with another lineage that I am now, but this also helped me a lot in my growing and my view.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, I'm not a yogi, but I think I meditate quite every day, and yeah, this every time I realize that helped in my daily life.
Cool. Alvaro, how has the Buddhadharma changed your life overall and your practice?
I think it's all about the view. I think I start to understand how more or less the thing works. I mean, I used to my whole life blame the outside world when something doesn't happen or it's happened in another way I expected, and I start to understand that it's all about what you have in your mind you threw into the world, and if you have a clear mind, and if you are happy, doesn't matter what's happening outside, you will be happy. If you are sad inside, you can have all the money of the world, all the friends, with your friends, a nice wife or husband, and you will be sad, and you will see all these other words that. So I think it's all about what you have inside that's important. And talking like this, it seems easy to say, but I think is the one of the main problems of the human being.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, are you saying that that what you have inside somehow manages to come to the outside as well?
I used to see. I still see a little bit the word like black and white. I was always extreme in all these my views and my perception of the things, and I think the Buddhist view give me more flexibility, and I realized that between this black and white there are thousands of tones or gray.
More than 50 shades of gray.
Yeah, more, yeah, for sure. And I start to realize that the things not should be like this or like this, or like you learn since you was born, like it should be like this, or different cultures, or the things change every time, and there are many combinations of situations and on thoughts, and this flexibility and this acceptance to accept this I think helps a lot. Yeah.
Do you find that that when you're talking about these different types of situations, like with family and friends, that that from this flexibility that you're more easy to get along with, or that you're more easily to understand people, or that maybe even you're more easily find that compassion within your heart?
I think both. All that you said is how I said it's a combination of all begin from you, what you threw to the world. And I think when you receive something about, for example, about family, and sometimes it's difficult with some parents or some family relatives, that, for example, there is always this person that since you're a kid you can love this person, but you have something that usually is with sister or brothers, and with my sister I realized this. And when I start to meditate and to understand more all that she used to say to me that hurt me, I realized that really she didn't want to hurt me. Just hurt me because she used to say something that I was really important for me. So I was hurt with this. And then I used to answer in a bad way. But when I start to realize, I start to be more flexible and understand more the other person, and only to not answer in a bad way or just understand, just change totally the situation because you don't give the chance to the other person to continue, or and just this is the first beginning, the perfect.
What's the, if that's the first part, what's the second part? Like what I mean, obviously not making the situation any worse is fantastic, and this is something that I think everybody struggles with.
Yeah.
But is there a second step that follows that?
I think the second step is I don't know if there is really a second step, only one thing, but I think it's a combination, how I said. I mean, to continue this, because sometimes the person used to say again, and then just it's a practice, no? And this is good also because it's like for example, there's a friend many years in the Sangha used to say, she used to say that he always used to compare, like for example, with sports or for example fitness, or you do these repetitions to grow the muscle, no? And this every time these situations, every time you breathe and you don't answer, and it's really struggling for some people, no? Some people take more anger or and the only this effort gives you a lot of space in your mind and flexibility, and I think the next step is, in my case at least, now we my sister, for example, we have a really good relationship, and it was like was all together, I think, not answering, but and then after a while the other person changed also. I'm not saying that I changed this person, I help, but I think it's only a combination, because I think maybe the other person doesn't think about I was doing wrong to say this to the person, I was hurting this person, but I think it's more in the subconscious.
Not reacting gives space to.
Yeah, I think it's both working together cannot be. I think both are Buddhist works better, because you can talk about this and also in another level of Buddhist level, but if the other person is, it doesn't matter the religion. I'm talking just, for example, my sister, she's psychologist, so we can talk a little bit about this, and but also if the other person doesn't realize, I think also works in the subconscious this, because when you give kindness, this changes totally the situation. I have many times situations with people really rude, that with the others that every time in my work, that every time complain about them, but when you give kindness, we give just a smile and a good answer sometimes. Sometimes it's really difficult because this person was very hard or something, but then after a while you realize that it starts to be a connection between.
Okay.
But when the other answer and start to discussions, or that is like put a wall.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is that Buddhism has helped you find the flexibility in the situation. Sometimes even just by being quiet and not answering, you've been able to give space to the circumstance, and this has improved your relationships. Make sense?
Yeah, in my situations, I can say that it works like this. Yeah.
Well, thanks for that, Alvaro, because now I have a better picture that I can also relate to myself in my circumstances as well. And that leads me to the next question that I'd like to ask you is, how has the Buddhadharma and your practice changed how you see and perceive love, and how you give love to others?
I think this is one of the most important things in my life, because not so long time ago that I think was gradually, but with different relations and also with friends. I'm more about relation. Maybe I'm talking about my wife or another former girlfriends. I realized about through Buddhism, like I was always, I not only me, but I think the majority of the persons they only want to take to the other persons, no?
What can I get out of this?
Yeah, because it's a really nice feeling, no? To be in love, but it's always the same. I have friends, family, and it's always the same situation. At the beginning, is wow, it's wonderful, and then after a while, the person there is this conformity and like something getting lost, and I think this because in my situation I was only taking for the other person. I want to this
love me, love
me. It gives me a good feeling, no?
Yeah.
But after a while, it doesn't work, and I think when you think in the other person and you give, and sometimes also you forget about yourself. And this is the most wonderful thing, because it's but only to think in the other what you can give to the other. With me, already happened many times that I was not in the mood to help the other, but I just think, but this is really important for the person. This is really important to, it's for me it's difficult. I'm not in the mood. I was stressed at work, but I want to give something, and this creates a space in the mind is incredible, and it comes together with love, and it is a real love when you give. Yeah.
So it's not just your practice. What I'm hearing you saying is that your practice has brought you to the point when you're not just taking and receiving, but you're able to give more as well too.
Yeah.
And in this circumstance, you mentioned like with your wife. I know your wife. She's a wonderful woman. She's also a Buddhist. How does this a Buddhist relationship function on a good level with this giving and taking of love? How do you see that? How do you see that the lotus flower opens up?
Okay, I will say about my example. I think when two persons are Buddhists or they have something in common. First of all, you can talk about when there is something difficult happening, or you can. I think the best thing to say is the best thing to explain that is you can see through the situation. No? For example, when it's a bad situation, when you together talk, you can go through this situation, this fog, and you can go into the point. And that is, I think, is the biggest struggle that the couples have.
You're talking about clarity, aren't you?
Yes,
clarity in the situation. And this is also something that I definitely hear from many Buddhist friends, is that the clarity in the meditation comes out into the clarity in your life.
Yeah.
And this allows you to see through without so many emotions.
Yeah.
In your relationships. Oh, that's powerful.
Yeah, and yesterday so happened that I arrived and she was just in the middle of in a discussion with a home office with a colleague. It was really stressful, and she was really cold, no? And usually, maybe 1 year before or 2 years before, I used to be mad and no, and then I will start to display,
Yeah.
Display.
Why is she not talking to me?
Yeah. And then I just sit in the sofa and start to read something. And she said, I'm sorry, I am stressed. Okay, understood. After 10 minutes, when the meeting is over, she came and she hugged me and thank you for understand. And then it's a team playing together,
Uh-huh.
both sides. No?
And then you weren't like this before your practice started, or you were just in this mode of taking, and you would get angry, and things would explode into a fight probably, and not end well.
Yeah, this is terrible. I think. Every person is different. Some persons are more anger. Some persons are have more about pride. Or there's a lot of combinations in the Buddhism. We know that there are many combinations of emotions, and everyone has
84,000.
Yeah. Every person have react in a way. For example, and sometimes there's two persons that is a bomb. Two combination of different emotions really bad.
Cool. Alvaro, has your practice in any way influenced you in healing emotional wounds that you've had over time, from maybe even like childhood?
Yeah, but I think this is a really nice question, because it's something that I'm struggling now. It's happening now, and I was always I had so many expectations about Buddhism, about healing. Now this was my first motivation. I don't know, maybe the majority of persons, and I realized after some years that the most important is not the healing, but in my case at least, I don't know the other person, but because maybe I will have these little problems that I like from my childhood, for example, until the end of my life. But one thing that I really I love about Buddhism, one of the things a lot, is to understand why I am like this, why I react like this, or why how this gives me a bad feeling every time. It repeats every time in different situations,
cycles and patterns,
since I was child. And nowadays I'm more patient with myself about the healing, and I'm more happy when I realize something is like blowing mind. I like in my case 39 years old, and then now I realize things that I was child, and that was always in a loop. And I don't care if it will happen again, but every time that happens, at least this time, I know.
You can see the pattern.
Yeah.
You recognize the pattern, and then you maybe even have a chance to do something about it.
And of course, I'm working to heal. But I think that if you don't understand, if you don't realize that it's how you heal. I mean, a doctor has to, a specialist of heart. If you have he study about that, and he has the medicine for this, and he knows about this. I mean, if you don't know
what the medicine is,
how you will heal.
Yeah, exactly. So identifying what's wrong is a big part of the practice.
And sometimes you have the person, you don't know how many lives you have this pattern is in this situation. No, how many lives you are bringing together again and again, but only the case that you realize about this is wow.
Is it so that you have this idea that through the introspection of meditation, by looking inwards, that after many hours on the cushion and saying mantras, that you have a more complete picture of yourself in order to see these patterns? Or is it because I think I have to look at myself very, very closely sometimes when I'm meditating, and almost be fearless, like to really, really look at those spots inside of me that I don't want to look at. Do you have experiences like that too?
Yeah, with me already happened that to realize something about how I said I didn't know about. I mean, I always was like this, but I didn't realize, and some dark side, that you have, and somehow in your subconscious you don't want to see. And you always try to do something to not
distraction.
Yeah, and you blame the outside.
And the ego's really good at giving you distractions.
The best one. And then, but to see these dark areas that everyone has, it's not a problem. But to accept that is the first big step.
Yeah, seeing it and accepting it, and then working with it.
What to do? Yeah, we have to accept, and we don't know how many lives we're holding this.
Yeah, exactly. Since beginningless time, maybe.
Yeah, and sometimes because what I said, we have to be patient and about the healing, because nobody said that we in a couple of years we will heal something that I don't know how many lives we have.
Yeah, and we could even take this and say that, oh, holy cow, I mean, maybe you're healing an emotional wound that you've had from childhood trauma that comes from your mother, that comes from your mother's mother and your mother's father, and this generational wounds, and that are actually, from a Buddhist perspective, like a karmic wound, really, that it's almost impossible to know what the cause is.
Yeah.
But understanding things like karma and understanding how what we're putting out is coming back to us stops the pattern, stops the situation, like you were doing with your sister. Okay, don't do anything bad, and then in this space, what I hear you saying is that in this space there's opportunity for change and opportunity for love and for growth to arise. When you see what's going on, when you see through the pattern.
Yeah, and sometimes nobody said that when you have a relation with some, for example, with a colleague or with a friend, or it doesn't say that you will have a strong connection after that, and then you will be really good friends. Sometimes, for example, the other person is not ready, and just with me it happened already with some friends from my childhood or when I was teenager. Just the connection naturally dissolves, and nobody hurts, nobody hurts, but just it's not. There is no more connection. There is just naturally goes to the space, but there is always the good memories, or if there is a really bad situation, okay, also you wish the best, of course, to the other person. But sometimes the connections really go close. Sometimes it solves. I think it's not so like math. No, it's not like this or like this.
Or black and white.
It's a working of energies and a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that really makes sense to me. Alvaro, thank you very much for sharing with us today. Thank you for your positive outlook and for your ideas, and most importantly, thank you for your vulnerability in opening up with us today.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, wonderful. So, my fellow Earthlings, I hope we've all managed to learn a little bit and to maybe get inspired to maybe sit down on the meditation cushion and look deep within yourself and maybe even begin a practice. So, with that, thank you very much, and remember to be kind to your fellow Earthlings.